Hello, brilliant learners! There are 4 past tenses in English, and 4 present, and 4 future tenses. 12 in total. But today we'll go into the past perfect simple, which I'll call past perfect, and the past perfect continuous. Make sure you're familiar with the past simple though. I have a video on that. You can go watch it and then come back. Because the past perfect simple and past perfect continuous are used together with the past simple. Let's start with the correct structure in affirmative. We have the subject, the auxiliary verb had, and the past participle. The past participle of regular verbs is formed if you add ed to the base form of the verb, and the past participle of the irregular verbs is the third column of your irregular verbs list. John wasn't hungry. He had just eaten 9 flies. 9 flies? Okay. Subject, the auxiliary had, and the third column of the verb eat. Eaten. Okay, this is an irregular. A small fire had started in the kitchen. Started is the past participle. It's a regular verb. Okay, ed. Now, your turn and you continue. Okay, I had started. You had started. He had started. She, it's the same. Okay, had started. It had started. We had started. You had started. They had started. Great. Now, let's take an irregular verb. Let's take the verb eat. The short form of the auxiliary had is an apostrophe with a D. Let's practice this. I'd eaten. Past participle. You'd eaten. He'd eaten. The correct pronunciation is that. I'd, you'd, he'd. Okay. She'd eaten. 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 We'd eaten. You'd eaten. They'd eaten. Well done. In the negative, we have the subject, the auxiliary hadn't, had not. This is a short form, and the past participle. John hadn't finished his meal. The auxiliary and the past participle don't change. They stay the same in all persons. Okay. Question. Had goes to the beginning of the sentence, and then the subject and the past participle. Had John ever eaten normal food? With the past perfect simple, we have some time expressions. After, when, until, just, before, by the time, for, since, already, just, and more, of course. Let's talk about the use a little bit. We use the past perfect simple, to talk about an action that started before another action in the past. So we have 2 actions. Let's look at this timeline. 2 actions, action 1, action 2. I had finished the report, which is the first action, when he arrived. So I had finished the report and then he arrived. Be careful here. The first action is always in the past perfect, and the second, which is closer to the present, is in the past simple. I was talking about past simple. Do you remember that? Okay. Try to identify the first action and the second action. So, the film had started. This is in the past perfect because it happened first. And then we arrived. Okay, your turn. When I home, I realized the keys at work. What happened first? You use the past perfect there. This is the second action. Okay, so I'll use the past simple. When I got home, I realized I had left the keys at work. Past perfect continuous. The correct structure is subject, had, been, and the verb with an ing ending. Okay, don't forget been. He had been eating for 16 hours straight. 16 hours? Oh my goodness, okay. So, I had been eating. Please go on. You had been eating. He had been eating. She had been eating. Yeah, it's quite long, this one, okay. It had been eating. We had been eating. You had been eating. They had been eating. Yes, it's the same. Don't change anything. Past perfect continuous, negative. Subject, had plus not, the short form hadn't. Been, don't forget that. And the verb with an ing ending. They hadn't been working hard. And the question? Had goes to the beginning, subject been and ing. So, had you been cooking when she came? We use the past perfect continuous to emphasize the duration of an action that started and finished before another action in the past. Two actions. The first is in the past perfect continuous and the second in past simple, the past simple. So, she had been driving for 3 hours. This emphasizes the fact that she had been driving for a long time before something else happened, before she found the office. Okay, this is in the past simple because it's the second action. I'd waited an hour for the bus. Okay, this is done, this is finished, the waiting is over. I'd been waiting an hour for the bus. So this emphasizes the fact that I've been waiting for an hour. It emphasizes the duration of this action. You can use the past perfect or past simple with before, after, and when with no change in meaning. Before she took her friends out to lunch, she stopped or she had stopped at an ATM. This is the first action. You can use past simple or past perfect here because you have before. Let's look at this. After. This is yours. After she at an ATM, her friends out to lunch. What can you do here? You can use in this gap here, you can use past perfect or past simple with no change. So you can say after she stopped or had stopped at an ATM because this is the first action. She took her friends out to lunch. When I woke up, second action, I saw that it had been raining. Okay, this is yours. First action in the past perfect continuous. It emphasizes the duration. It says for a house for 6 months. Okay. Second action, past simple. They had been looking for a house for 6 months before they found one. This is another use of the past perfect continuous. The children had been playing and the room was a mess. The result was visible in the past. The room was a mess when in the past. That's why I use the past perfect continuous. If this was in the present simple, the room is a mess, then this has to be in the present perfect continuous. So the children have been playing and the room is a mess. Hope this helps. Thanks for watching. See you next time.